ইউটিউবে এরা দিচ্ছে তো স্ট্রিমিং স্ট্রিমিং অন ইউটিউব।
Please go ahead.
Namaste, everyone. Welcome to the Vedanta Life Academy series on Life Inspires Life. I'm sorry, I apologize for the delay. We had some difficulties with our YouTube. But let us begin. So let us first start off with the chant. If you know the chant, please chant along. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Havir Havir Maiti Rudrayate Dakshinam Mukham Tenamam Pahinityam Tenamam Pahinityam Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Light us through and through, and guide us evermore with thy loving presence. Om, peace, peace, peace to everyone everywhere. So we thank everyone for coming, and we're so happy. Today is called our Life Inspires Life series, where we interview different swamis and pravachikas and learn about their lives and how they were influenced by the great souls that they met and the lessons they learned. And today we are joined by Swami Sarvadevananda, who is the, as you know, who is the head of the Center of the Vedanta Society of Southern California and many other sub-centers in the United States. So you've already been given his biography, so I won't go into that, but let us welcome him as he is going to talk about many of the great souls that he has met and has inspired him on his journey in spiritual life, and what lessons maybe he has learned from them. So let us welcome Swami Sarvadevananda Maharaj. Swamiji, thank you so much for coming on, and we're so pleased to have you. Would you like to go ahead, Maharaj, and begin a little bit by telling us who are some of these souls that you've been inspired by?
Life is a journey, and in this journey we had the privilege of every one of us have the privilege of meeting people who make a change in our life or have a deep impact in our life, maybe sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. These spiritual people particularly, their impact works on, as in the Bhakti Sutra Narada says, Satsangastu Durlabha. Satsanga, holy company in life, is difficult to attain, difficult to have, and if it has, then its impact is deep, agamma, durlabha, agamya, and amogha. It will work. Those who are ready in their life, it works instantly. Those of us who are not that much ready, this impact will be there, but it will happen in time, maybe in long years to come. So we are fortunate that we are living in a time period when it is not too far away from Sri Ramakrishna's dynamic presence through his disciples, those who lived the other day, we can say, and their disciples who got inspired to live their life of dedication. And they themselves became the spiritual dynamos. We have the opportunity in that way to see some of the Swamis. So I will talk about them. Being very fortunate, I do not know anything. First, I came to Belur Math when with some of our elderly guides and went to Belur Math and saw first when I was maybe very young. Young means very young, maybe fifth grade boy or something like that. Have no idea, sadhu and this and that. But then I went and saw that in the temple we went and we found that there is a statue of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna in the Murti. And after having sitting there and offering our pranam, went to other temples, and then our guide took us to the President Swami. And the President Swami was Swami Shankarananda. He was a great personality. Is very calm, very serene, grand looking, as if so calm that he does not move right or left as it were. So when I went and I saw, and his complexion was very fair. In my childhood impression, I thought that I was astonished to see, and I saluted. Everyone is saluting. I also saluted. Out of uh, nervousness, I didn't go in front. I was from a corner in the backside. I did pranam, but I didn't face-to-face pranam or looking at him. I didn't do that. Then I came out and I was astonished and I asked, what is this statue? It looks like a statue as we saw in Ramakrishna statue, and here is another statue. Then those people who are with me, they said, you fool, you don't understand. He is the president of the order. His name is Swami Shankarananda. And he is the Raja Maharaj's disciple. It's a grand personality. And that was my first looking at Swami Shankarananda Maharaj, which was that early age. And then it happened that I used to stay during my college education time, a part of that, very close to Belur Math, and had the opportunity to go to Belur Math now and then. And then when we used to go, then we have the opportunity to do pranam. So now everyone says to initiation will be very good. By that time, I was maybe around 19, 20 years old. And then I was also inspired by other sadhus. By that time, I came to know other swamis, and they said you should try for initiation from Swami Shankarananda. So, but how shall I introduce myself? Who will listen to me? So ultimately I got to know Swami Vimuktanandaji, who was Holy Mother's disciple and head of the Sarada pit, which is outside the Belur Math. And that Swami was anyhow known to my elder brother, and that he introduced, and he was very happy to hear that I am interested in it, and he wrote a recommendation letter, and that I gave it to the press secretary of the Shankarananda Maharaj, President Maharaj. In between, so many years have passed. Now, that when I went there, and I used to go to have everyday darshan and pranam in the evening, and when a recommendation was given by him, and then you need your father's approval or guardian's approval, this, that, all this, because I'm only 18 or 19. So then I collected all those things, and then I gave it to the secretary of Shankarananda Maharaj, the Suparnananda Maharaj. He was old Suparnananda Swami, and that Swami was very sweet, but very like Shankarananda Maharaj's private secretary. So he very difficult to approach also. grave and great personality. Then I saluted and I said, Swami, I want to have some initiation from this. And then he said that, oh, mm, initiation, huh? Anyone trying to get mantra? What do you know? Did you read gospel? Did you anything? I said, no, Maharaj, I read gospel, but a little, not totally completed the page, cover to cover, like that. Then anyhow, he, after scolding me, that was the first boon. After scolding some time, then he took my prayer application and then said, hey, you come. After the evening prayer is done, see me afterwards. That means after 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So afterwards, I came after the evening prayer in the temple and then came back. And he said, oh, yes, Maharaj said that he noticed you, but you are a young boy. Why are you trying now? Swami says, you wait, and asked you to read the gospel. So I thought, okay, to read the gospel. Well, you are a college boy, student, so you need not have to read 5 volumes. You read 3 volumes, 1, 2, 3. So listening that, and I then even absented myself from my classes in the college and then started reading gospel all the time, day and night, this way to finish the 3 volumes. And naturally, after some day, within 2 weeks, 3 volumes of gospel, we have finished and reading it. So then I came back and I saluted again to the Swami Supernanandaji and said, by that time, I mean, every day coming to see the, have darshan of Maharaj and doing pranam and going back. And then ultimately he said, okay, now what's the matter? Why are you here? Maharaj, you told me. So I finished my reading the gospel. Huh? You read 3 volumes, you finished your gospel reading? He says, you boys, you want to see movie, you go to movie. Mind says, okay, let me see movie. And you want to read novel, go on reading novel. And you read gospel like that? How can you do that? Then he said, no, there is one professor of Jadavpur University. He is asking for initiation. And Maharaj is said one time, you read the 5 volumes of gospel. He has read after months, 1 month or so, or 2 months, and then he come back. Then Maharaj said, ask him to read again. And you within 10, 15 days, you have finished and you come to get initiation. And I was very humble and I was very timid. Though seeing my face and other things, he felt compassion. Then he said again, okay, come after evening prayer. So I went after evening prayer. And then he said that, oh, Maharaj was not agreeing. You are fortunate. Maharaj has agreed to give you initiation. But you know, I have to do so much work for you.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I foolishly said, yes, Maharaj, you have to do something for so much. And so much, I, instead of saying foolishly, I said, you have to do একটু. আমার জন্য একটু বলতে হয়েছে। একটু। I said that you have to say a little for me. You nonsense, you stupid. You say, I did it for you, একটু, small, little. You in your letter, you have not written that you know Ramakrishna Math, you know you are familiar with the sadhus, and you are coming to Math, and you read the gospel before, not serially. Did you say all these things? I mean, no more, no more, no more. And then he become pleased. Okay, now Maharaj has agreed, so you will be notified later on. And that was the way I got the chance to have initiation with him. By that time, Swami's health was very frail. I have not any opportunity in my life to have any direct question one-on-one, but I wrote a letter and he responded to that. And it was very practical. I posted the letter and that letter was missed. That because one of the Swami, Harinamanandana Swami Akuntananda, the Swami was looking after all the mails, thinking that Swami Shankarananda's load will increase to respond my letter also. He tore up that letter and threw away. He didn't encourage that people should bother President Maharaj at that age with all these questions. Anyhow, but I again went to Suparnananda Maharaj, and Suparnananda Maharaj, oh, you wrote, but I didn't get it. Okay, you write it and give it to me. So in front of him, I wrote a letter, and that was an inland letter. Inland letter was used, and I put gum in such a way that no one can open it. And then when that later response came from President Maharaj, he said that your yes, uh, it is not necessary that you see me every day, but if you grow in love for Thakur, then your life will be fulfilled. And you need not have to think that you are not serving me. The service to Thakur is your service. And then Puna again, PS, you have added so much gum that the letter was torn. That was the lesson, that how to give a just even an ordinary thing. Putting some gum in a letter should be perfectly done. And that he pointed out and said that this is you have to be careful about. And then uh, that was the way, and then initiation time came, and that Swami was very sick that time. He could not go to the temple even, but his initiation was in his room. That room was Swami Vivekananda's room in Belur Math, where Swamiji lived. Next room is the president's room. And then it was a grand experience to have in presence. Being in his presence, you feel awed and with reverence, and your mind becomes very, very uplifted.
Mm.
So after that, one day, as you know, after initiation, salutation, every day going for some pranaming, but some questions come, and I thought that I will ask one-on-one. But how to approach? No one will give me any opportunity to go to him, and I will also be nervous. If I go to put any question, it will be difficult. But anyhow, it was a rainy day in the night, rainy evening. All devotees came in. They used to all stand in line one by one. So I tried every time, but somebody comes behind me. So my mission was failing one first day, second day, third day I planned I will be the last. So whoever comes, I go behind him in the
Right.
line. And afterwards, I went to the last person, and that day everyone is gone. I saw that anyone is behind me, no. So I am the last person. So I went at the back of everyone, and everyone gone. And Maharaj is sitting in his chair, which is in a chair, and grand looking, calm and serene. And then normally he does not like that you prostrate with whole body. Then he will say, hey, what? Stop. That means he does not like that you're too much bhakti, show of bhakti. So, but that time I didn't think of anything. I lay prostration, and he was sitting just at the threshold of the door, just inside, and I was outside. And he will not allow anybody to touch the feet because he has some sensitivity in the skin. So always, I never touched his feet in his. All the initiated devotees also could not touch that. Anyhow, uh, singles, he was suffering from singles, so touch is very sensitive. Anyhow, so that is then what happened when I saluted, and I thought that now I shall raise my head, and then Sarpud Maharaj, what is my question? I forgot now. So, but that is the spiritual power of the great people. So I saluted, and then I raised my eyes, and he was looking at me, and his eyes was big eyes, and just look, eyes to eyes. And as soon as I saw his two eyes and the face, I do not know, as if something is sucked out of me, as it were. That was my personal feeling.
Wow.
And no question, I felt a great relief from my heart, and my question is solved. I need not have to put any question anymore. That's why that pranam and he looking at him and his glance solved the problems what I was being bothered for so many days to put that question. I was making a plan to be the last person, last person, last person. But without putting the question, there is this spiritual people can do by a glance can take away our all questions solved. The solution, heart becomes full of joy. That was the first experience I got it from Shankarananda Maharaj. Of course, that was the last experience. But Shankarananda Maharaj was there, as if you can understand, when he is in the Belur Math, you can feel the presence. There is some extraordinary presence in the whole Belur Math. You enter, and every one of the other monks are very serious about the movement and their duties and other things. So this Swami Shankarananda Maharaj, well, I saw him another many occasions. I saw him, but I have never any chance. And he was the seventh president of our Ramakrishna order. And I saw him that in the Durga Puja, the big festivity goes on days and days. At the end of the Durga Puja, you know that Belur Math, the mother's image is being carried. And that time the puja was done in the main temple. Now it is done in the outside because of the number of people, so many people. So they bring the mother's image and to show President Maharaj, and so they carry the entire mother's image close to the Swamiji's house where Swamiji lived, and then turn the mother's total image facing so that uh, Maharaj can see the Mother Durga, and he saw it is a beautiful scene to see. He came silently on that side where Mother Durga is in the pandal area. Now the pandal area, big pandal area, there people are carrying. I also was holding one bamboo piece like that. So because I was a volunteer that time, and then to turn the mother's image so that Maharaj can see the mother's total image. And after sometimes he was doing like that pranam, and after sometimes with so sincerely he was observing. Everyone is standing in awe to see that. It is evening time with hazard light and other light, not electric light was not that much, arrangement was not that time. So Maharaj also looking like that to mother and pranaming, and afterwards just turn like that and showed like that. And then they Jai Durga Mai ki Jai, and they turned the mother's image and went back to mother's temple, Holy Mother's temple, and then Visarjan. So it is a personality, and it's a divine personality, and you can feel the presence even. And I was given, Suparnananda Maharaj after my initiation gave me a job. Ah, will you do some Guru Seva? I said, yes, Maharaj, what can I do? I thought that he will ask me to go to his room and do something. Oma, he said, can you do one thing? You know, then on weekends, the Saturdays and Sundays, Maharaj cannot tolerate any noise because of his singles. Any sound bothers him very much. But people from all over India comes and they go to see Swamiji's relics, Swamiji's room with the articles, what is there. So when they go, they naturally chatter, chatter, chatter. So can you come on Sunday? Your duty will be, you come as soon as the Belur Math gate opens and stand here, and only you tell anyone coming there, don't talk, don't talk, don't talk. And you don't say don't talk, you only. So I thought, oh my God, this is a Guru service. It's very difficult Guru service. I will not be able to see Guru, and Guru will not be able to see me. Or I'm doing something, we want some recognition. No, I'm doing something, but he will not know even what I'm doing. But that was my duty. Till Swamiji passed away and I was there every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I used to go there, and then that was my duty to make everyone stop, 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 don't talk, don't talk, don't talk. So this is and also I found one day, actually he notices. One day in the morning time, that was maybe 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and there is a railing. I can lean over that and can see to there is a uh, door was open, which facing the big courtyard. not the inner courtyard, but the courtyard towards the mother's temple. So I saw that day, it was also a great darshan, I will say. I was leaning like a child, leaning on the bar towards Swami's room, and his room door was open, and there is a curtain. Curtain was little removed, and I saw that he sat for morning after taking shower and everything. He is sitting for meditation, and he was going to sit for meditation, close the eyes, and when I leaned like that, I found him that he's looking at me. So that's what his grace was. I think that that way I used to feel that he is looking at. But it is difficult type of Guru Seva. Though that is Swami Shankarananda Maharaj. Actually, these are the rare picture because Shankarananda Maharaj has seen Swami Vivekananda also for a glance. He didn't have get a chance to talk, but he was the private secretary of Swami Brahmananda Maharaj. Very efficient, and it's a, at least I was this much opportunity to see him. Already on much time is gone.
Yes, Marge, that's wonderful. So let's go on to the next Swami.
Next one. Now I'll think of Swami. Next Swami is Swami Vishuddhananda Maharaj. He was the 8th president. Shankarananda Maharaj was the 7th, next president. So when he was the next president, 8th president, so he was not willing when he was after the passing away of Swami Shankarananda Maharaj. The trustees of the Belur Math requested Swami Vishuddhananda ji, but he said no. He was not agreeing to come. But anyhow, afterwards he agreed. And when he came to Belur Math, he was entering in his room, the president's room, where Shankarananda Maharaj stayed. He entered into that room. That very day of his coming into that room, Swami Abjojananda, he took me and he introduced me with Swami Vishuddhananda ji. Vishuddhananda Maharaj was Holy Mother's disciple, and this Holy Mother gave sannyas to 3 people, Shantananda, Vishuddhananda, and Girija Maharaj. So he is very much loved by Holy Mother and was a wonderful, sweet, spiritual personality. So when the Swami introduced me, that this boy was initiated by Swami Shankarananda Maharaj, bless him, Swami Abjojananda said. And then Vishuddhananda Swami patted me on my back and said, "You boy, okay. So could you tell me what is called Guru Seva?" I was a young boy, how much I know. But spontaneously it came to my mind because we have read and heard something. To follow the instruction of the spiritual teacher, I said, Maharaj, that may be the Guru Seva. Well, yes, Guru is no more in the physical body. And even if he is there, not serving him personally is the only Seva. Rather, to carry on his instructions and to spiritualize your life, that is Guru Seva. And then he said, you are fortunate that you got initiation from Maharaj, but try to utilize it, young boy. You should be leaning on to this idea of making it practical in your life. So he gave profuse blessings that day. And then onward, he used to live there, and every day it was his style that he will be in the baranda, Swami Vivekananda's baranda, that which is on the Ganges side of Swamiji's room. Those who have visited Belur Math, you can know the old Belur Math. Swamiji's room, and parallel to the Ganga, there is the one baranda, and in that baranda, every afternoon, Swami Vishuddhananda ji will sit in one corner on the one end, and devotees will come, salute, and sit And he will be constantly talking about gospel of Ramakrishna, the meaning of life, purpose of life, and if anyone had any question. I was a young boy, so I have not many questions. That was my foolishness. Also, not that inquisitiveness was there to have courage also to put my many questions. Anyhow, so I had the opportunity to sit at the feet of Maharaj again and again many times. And what still rings in my mind, that he will be giving the gospel, talking about, he will ask that all questions are solved in the gospel of Ramakrishna. So read the gospel of Ramakrishna, you will get everything. And then he used to say, some used to say, can you say what is the cream of the gospel's teachings? He used to say three words: ডুব দাও, ঝাঁপ দাও, এগিয়ে পড়ো. Dive deep, ডুব দাও, jump, dive, and go forward. That means plunge yourself in the spiritual lessons and teachings. Dub dao, dive deep, jump, don't hesitate, don't wait. Life is short. And then jump, and then dive deep, don't float on the surface. And move on till you reach the goal. And he used to emphasize every day on sadhana, spiritual practice, spiritual practice, spiritual practice. And he used to refer to Maharaj and other experiences of what he has got. So that was another Swami. I had not good memory. I could have kept so much notes maybe, but I could not. That was my foolishness. But now I repent. But at least I had the privilege of sitting at the feet of this Vishuddhananda Swamiji for a long days and months and months. But he has his health problem came and he passed away shortly. That's why he was not as president for a longer period. He has some health issues and he passed away.
Maharaj, let me ask you a question here. So you just said that Swamiji said all questions are solved in the gospel. Okay. So if a person is having some conflicts in their life, when they like all of us do at some time, especially nowadays, if we're having some difficulties, are you saying then what should we do then? You're saying all questions are solved in the gospel. Should we ask something and then turn to a page and read, and will the answer come to us?
Yeah.
What should we do when we're in these crises or difficulties that occur to us?
Yeah, that is true. And I say, if someone believes this way, then yes, they just open the page of gospel, it turns, and the solution comes over there. You know the story of Poltu. Poltu was Ramakrishna's disciple. Purno, the drowning. He was going to drown himself. So Purno or Poltu, they said, forgive me by the names. He was really totally upset and he was going to drown. And that's just before going to drown in the Ganges, commit this life to end. And then just he said, okay, because Ramakrishna, he has some type of feeling that Ramakrishna is not carrying him or something like that, because he saw Ramakrishna. So he was going to drown himself and kill himself. And that story you also know probably, that he said before he's going to commit that suicide or drowning himself in the Ganges, he just opened the page of gospel. And the page of gospel opened, there is a Ramakrishna is thinking about Poltu. And that stopped him.
I see.
Stopped his life. And I have heard from many devotees also that when any question comes, probably they open like that, as if reading something, he got the response. If we believe them, they are holy people. They have tested with themselves in their life, Vishuddhananda Maharaj. And also their experience of life, they are initiating Guru for a long time. So they have probably, with their experience, they are telling, if one sincerely searches for the response, the gospel can give the response. Swami
Then,
Shankarananda Maharaj, if you go
yes.
for any question, he will say, read gospel. He will not say any, very rarely he gave advice and instruction. You go to any question, first of all, you will not be able to put the question. He's such a big personality. But at the same time, when you say something, Swami Umananda, who passed away, he was a singer Swami in Belur, what you have seen, very high, fair complexion Swami. He used to pakhwas and song very nicely. And his voice was gone when at his old age, but he was very much liked by others for his musical voice. Senior to Ramesh Maharaj and others. So he that he said that he came to Shankarananda Maharaj. He met him first, before joining. He was telling his story. And then he said, Maharaj, I want to give me some advice. I want to be a monk. And oh, you want to be a monk? Go read gospel. That's all. His formula was read gospel. And Vishuddhananda Maharaj was also very much a fan of suggesting to read the gospel.
So then you're saying that in one sense, then God will
Yeah,
speak through the gospel to
yeah,
you to
right.
answer your problem. It
Yeah,
seems like with Swami Shankarananda Maharaj, being in his presence, you said the problem was not solved, problem was dissolved. The problem
dissolve.
didn't exist anymore.
Right, right,
But then
exactly.
another method you're saying is if you have problem,
Open.
what should we do? Should we pray to God and then open the book? What is the method? What's the best way to do this, Maharaj?
I do not know. I have heard that just simply say they every day there is a habit of reading the gospel. So you read and open it and you see, wow, this is the direction for me. But I said prayer should be the major thing. Of course, we are not always so much devoted and we have no so much conviction, but we can do this to our sadhus, senior sadhus, we can put questions. But the real solution will come from within. That's the point. And Sri Ramakrishna, if we believe God, he listens to every one's prayers and sincere calling. So
Thank you.
now
Maharaj,
I'll
let's go to the third Swami, next Swami.
next Swami, a few words maybe for Swami Shantananda Maharaj. He was also Holy Mother's disciple. He was one of the most respected Swami for a long time. He was asked to be the president of the order many times, interim period, but he didn't agree. His health condition was also not good, but you have heard many stories from Swami Santo Sarupananda. He was he had the opportunity. We were college students that time. Santo Sarupananda Swami was also Vidyamandir college student that time, and he uh, used to go to Belur Math, and that got much opportunity being in a hostel of Belur and coming to Maharaj. He used to read the Gospel of Ramakrishna in before him, and we used to go occasionally. But we are not like Vidyamandir college students. We are from outside, but young boy, so we used to go and sit sometimes. As you have heard that Shankarananda Maharaj is to, Santananda Maharaj. As I mentioned, that Santananda Maharaj, yes, Santananda Maharaj is you can see, look at the face, like a simple child, innocent child,
Yeah.
and full of spiritual fervor, no? As if beaming with, and see the simple dress, things, everything. But if you go there, you can feel that room is charged with. Then he used to live across Swami Vivekananda's temple, where is the two-story temple Omkara, and he used to live opposite of that house in the ground floor. That room was very uh, not well maintained. So it has sand and things are old. The plaster is falling down. But the attendants took care of that, and Maharaj used to live there. So we used to go and visit Santanandaji, and then we sometimes sit when reading is going on. As Swami Shantananda, Santa Sarupananda told you, that while reading, as if you see that Maharaj is sleeping or almost not listening anything. But if you make a mistake, immediately Shantanandaji will say, what did you read? And he will correct that. He has read gospel in such a way, such a depth, that he will correct the reading, misreading of Santo Rupananda. And one thing what I had my direct experience, that I went one day in the morning time, that was maybe in the early around 9 o'clock or 9:30 in the morning or 10 o'clock. And the balloon mart in those days, I am talking about, it is 60, 1960, 61, uh, like that period. And that time, people are very few in number in the morning time, of course. And there are only the birds are chirping, the crows are cracking. And that was the only silence everywhere. And I entered, finding nobody in the room. I went and saluted with the Bhumishta pranam. And I stood, and he, like a child, extended his hand towards me. Uh, so I was afraid to touch him, because his assistant, his sevaks are there. If they see that I am touching him, then I will have a good scolding, and they will not allow me to come again. So I, from a distance, I saluted like this, and then he said, come, come, come. Then it came close, and he said, okay, do you hear? Do you hear? I said, I only hearing some birds chirping outside and no other voice. And then he himself said, don't you hear the anahata om going on all the time? Don't you hear? He was in constantly in that realm where he is listening to Omkar, anahata dhani, baji tatha anahata dhani tabobani. Swamiji says, there always flows that unstruck sound, anahata dhani, baji tatha anahata dhani. And that is your bani, that's your message. That is God's message. God must manifest it to the Omkara. So that he lives in that constant awareness. So that was the type of some person Swami Shantanandaji. Even Bireshwarananda Maharaj and others used to come and salute him. So he was so much respected, and he has this dynamo of spirituality. Swami Sridharananda Swami spoke much about Swami Shantanandaji's association with him. So we are only got a little chance to go close, and but that one experience is still vibrant in my mind, that how he is giving an indication that you don't hear. It is spontaneous. He is listening all the time. So this is the question. Doubts go away. At least if we see such people are talking with such simplicity and conviction, that don't you hear? It's continuously going on. Oh, like that. And in the silence of Belur Math, that he is living in that awareness. So that was Swami Shantananda Maharaj.
Wow.
Uh, then Premeshananda Maharaj was another Holy Mother's disciple. I had the opportunity after my college education, a BA degree, BSc. I not degree is over, but I just finished my BSc, and then I was trying to planning to go to some uh, visit to Darjeeling, is it, to see some scenic beauty, and my ticket was purchased and this and that. The Swami, who actually mentored my life, and I'm greatly devoted and really thankful to that Swami, that is Swami of Jojananda. He suddenly one day tell me, well, Acha, your examination is over. What are you going to do now? Then I said, no, Maharaj, I have planned to go. 1 month is there, so I'll go and uh, go to Darjeeling, have a visit and this vacation. Then he said, no, 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 cancel that. What will you go to see something in Darjeeling? What is there in Darjeeling? There's the scenic beauty. You can see any time. But you go to Premeshananda Maharaj. But he used to speak about Premeshananda Maharaj all the time. Whenever I used to visit him very frequently, and his spirituality, mother, how mother used to love him, and how he has influenced so many swamis of our order, and actually so many great swamis who are very much honored in the whole order has come out of his Swami Sahananda Maharaj, say our Saradeshananda Maharaj, Santoswarupananda Maharaj, like many of our big, great Swamis whom we think that they have spiritually uplifted and attained Swamis, they have this. So I said that, you go and serve the Swami. Yeah? And you make a plan, you go. Then I said, oh my God. As a young man, you can think that you're planning to go to have some experience of Darjeeling, to have some vacation there, fun. And now he's sending me to an old guy who will not be, as you can see how that old Swami, his face is like that. But that time he was really lying down in the bed. He was really not very, but anyhow, I didn't see him even. But he said, okay, you could go. And that time, our present Vice President Maharaj, Swami Shuitanandaji, he was taking care of Swami Premeshananda Maharaj. Anyhow, I agreed and I 50-50. That was my foolishness. 50 days I scuttled from my vacation. I could have
Yeah,
scuttled the whole month,
I
but
see.
my foolishness, young age, is not a good attraction for other things. So that 15 days I went and stayed with him and served him. That was another experience, wonderful experience. And then Swami Shuitanandaji Maharaj, that he was Sanatan Maharaj, he is doing everything, but still we are assisting him to, uh, but he will be having some physical difficulties in itching all the time, allergy. If the sky become clouded, allergy starts and he will be, and so we have to rub slowly, softly. His skin is so soft, like that whatever service we did, but that was a great experience. So one time, before he coming back, I didn't feel much. I stayed with him and just did what we can, be around him, serving him. But when I was coming back, I suddenly felt a little big attachment for him.
Hmm.
And he's simple, and what he spoke, I forgot all this now. But while I was coming here saying that you are going to Belur Math, you go and offer my Om Namo Narayanayo to whom? To Swamiji's disciple, living disciple. What is his name? Swamiji's living disciple, Brahmachari
Yeah, Gyana
Gyan
Brahmachari.
Maharaj.
Yeah, Gyana.
Gyan Maharaj. So Gyan Maharaj is still there, and he said, go and offer my pranam and said, say, Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishna. He said pranam means pranam. He didn't say how, but I meant that I will touch his feet. Anyhow, so that was the thing he said, and he lives there and tell him. And also, you go and tell Thakur in the temple. He is there. You tell him that this old man is suffering so much. He has sent message to me that you please take him away quickly. I said, Maharaj, how can I say? Can I say that you die? We don't want to do that. Maybe you are suffering, but it is our fortune that we can see you. Anyhow, so he came back, and that created a deep tie with Premeshananda Maharaj. I felt, now even I feel, that what a blessed opportunity to be with him. And then he remained like that in my life till now. So then I came to Belur Math, and then I said, Maharaj, no, I cannot say that. Then he said, why not? You love me. Do you see that you love me and I will suffer like this? Can't you do that? As if he's pleading me. It's just, I thought it is a joke. No. A senior Swami talking to Belur Math, Thakur is there. As if Belur Math is not there we will bring Vedanta, no? Our Vedanta will teach us wrongly. Ha ha ha. Thakur is not there in Sargachi. Sargachi Thakur got Akhandananda Swami stayed here and all these things, and he's saying, go to Belur Math, Thakur. See the indication. Belur Math is a special place where Sri Ramakrishna is living presence. He is imprinting that idea to me. And then when I said no, and then he bargained, And he said, if I don't go early, who will make place? Who will make some advanced position for you when you will come later on? I said, what will you do? He said, I will tell when you come, when your time will come, then I will tell you, mother, this boy has come. So open the door for him. Oh my God. I thought this is joking words, but it's not a joke from the whatever. I hope for that mother
Wow.
opens the door. Anyhow, so this is a great statement. And then I came back, and then I got a scolding from Gyan Maharaj, of course, because I didn't know that he does not want anyone's touch. We cannot touch his feet. You have to go and salute like this and say, Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Then he will say, Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishna. Then when you say Ramakrishna, then you have to say, Swami Premeshananda Maharaj has sent Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishna to you. But I touched him and he got so annoyed. And then I said, Maharaj, I do not know, please forgive me. But Premeshananda Maharaj has sent this Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishna to you. Then he cooled down a little bit. And then also, of course, I visited him many times, Gyan Maharaj also. Now, Premeshananda Maharaj, I have another opportunity when he came from Sargasi. He had to come because of his eye operation in medical college and cataract operation. So he came. And that time it was much easier because we are in Calcutta and nearby area. So we used to go to assist to serve Swamiji whatever we can. And with our Suhitanandaji Maharaj was still uh, taking care of the Swami, and he took care of Swami's health and Swami till the end. So, and we are also known to each other, and then we are close to some. Yeah. Then we one day asked about Maharaj. So, when after your cataract operation is over, so we will go with you to Dakshineshwar. Ah, so that with you going to Dakshineshwar is a different thing.
Hmm.
But Premis Maharaj said, no, I don't want to go to Dakshineshwar.
Oh.
Well, why? Well, we have our Dakshineshwar, imaginary Dakshineshwar. When I first visited, when Ramlal Dada took me to show around, Master Mosai was there like that. Those I want to live in that Dakshineshwar, not this changed Dakshineshwar. As it was in Ramakrishna's time, say that Dakshineshwar I want to go. And then after some time, when some cataract operation was done, it was decided that he will stay in Benares. And he was in the Benares hospital, Sevastram, Swamiji lived there. And by that time, my life also turned differently with the inspiration of my mentor, Swami. So that is a different story. I will not say now. So I had to join the order. Had to join means I didn't come out of my own, but I was pulled into it, and then said, "Okay, go on, stay on. Why not? Why not?" Like that. And after some times, that Swami sent me to planning to send me to Vrindavan, where Swami Saradeshananda lives. So the Swami thought that it will be very good if I stay with such an exalted Swami like Saradeshananda, who was the private secretary of Holy Mother, writing many letters of Swami Mother and served Mother for a longer period in Jairambati. And that Swami was still alive in Vrindavan. So I was to go to Vrindavan, but as I was going, I dropped at in between, make a stopover at Benares. And when I went to Benares, that was a cold period. I have no idea. I'm going from Calcutta, and Benares, I have no idea. I have no very warm clothing much because I just went with a rolling bag. And then I went from the station to Kauri Hospital. It is called Kauri Hospital. That means the Sevastram, local rickshaw pullers, they know by the name Kauri Hospital. That means our Ramakrishna Mission Sevastram, Benares. And then I went there and he dropped me in the door at the main gate, huge gate. I am standing outside, and who will open for me? It is around 3:30. And then I stood there. And suddenly around 4 o'clock or around that time, I saw one Swami or somebody coming from a long distance stretch. I can see coming towards this end, towards the gate, not to the gate, but there is the Sevastram and Advaita Ashram temple. There is a temple where sadhus come and meditate. So suddenly I found that our Sanatan Maharaj, Swami Sritanandaji, present Swami Sritanandaji Maharaj, he was coming and towards the temple for meditation with his cushion in his armpit, and I shouted in Bengali, I am here, I am here. And he got really surprised without any notice how I am there in that condition. And he moved forward and came to the gate and make the guard to open the gate. And then I entered. I said, why? Oh, what is this? You come without any notice and this time? I said, Maharaj, this has happened. So I have joined, or I have been taken to the order, whatever maybe. Yes. And then I'm going to Vrindavan. On the way, I want to visit for 3, 4, 5 days and stay. And he immediately gave up his own temple meditation and took me. And I went to the room where Swami Premeshananda is lying in the bed. He was so weak and sick, but his mind was so alert. And as soon as we entered, then Premeshananda, Maharaj, Suhitanandaji Maharaj said that this boy, Maharaj, you're this, he called me by earlier name, that he has come, and he is with this purpose, and he has become like this. I will stay with Saradeshananda Swami. So then he said, oh, is it? Come. And he asked me to come very close to him. He was lying down, but came, and he said, bring a flashlight. So the Sritanandaji then brought a flashlight and put on my face, put it on the face. I do not know why they are doing all these things, putting on the face and flashlight. And then looking at that, I do not know, he didn't express anything, but like a mother touching over the head and touching everything, like a affectionate mother, endearingly calling. So that's a great memory for me. Even I can feel the touch. So that was the thing as blessings at the beginning of this monastic life.
Yeah.
So I think time is up.
So then, Maharaj, then you continue on. Then you went. You went to Brindavan. So then you must have had some reminiscence.
So let me finish this talk.
Yeah.
Then I stayed there for 7 days, and Maharaj was taking everyday care for me. Go to Tilbhandeswar, go to this Atma Vireshwar, so you see this, see that, organizing, being in the bed. And all, after that, I used to spend most of the time with him. He used to go for a walk in a, what we call the wheelchair. So those days we call perambulator. Used to push that perambulator around this ashrama and then come back for afternoon and then to his back. So that was 7 days. It was a blessed 7 days passed that way. And then I went from there to Vrindavan and stayed there for a month or so. And then there was another exemplary life, Saradeshananda Swami. It's very reserved, but you can see a life totally dedicated to God. This is, see, very humble, brain is so active, and he is concerned about the modern development in all the centers of Ramakrishna mission. He knows what is going on in education system. He used to give wonderful suggestions for every center to flourish in the way of Ramakrishna ideal, in the Ramakrishna ideal. And I saw a great austere Swami. He used to live very simply. He used to come for lunch. There's only one bowl. There are so many items you have to serve in that bowl. This bowl finished, you put whatever you have, rice, dal, spinach, whatever. No question of test. Whatever is coming, just put it, and that is bowl is finished. That means his lunch is over. And he continued for his whole life. And also, he was an inspiration for regularity in meditation, regularity in practice of spiritual discipline. And he was very serious that don't go to a center and become a burden to them. Because most of the people who they come, I am late for breakfast, I am late for lunch, oh, I didn't go for class because of this game. No, he was very rigid on all those principles. And also, he as a wastage, he could not tolerate even a little wastage of little 1 cup of water. So we learned so much, and spirituality, of course, there is, and you can feel. And I was not intelligent enough to ask many questions about mother, but there you can find that there is one book has come out. His attendant, what he has written, beautiful in Bengali, and it is also in English translated as reminiscences of Swami Saradeshananda Swami. And Saradeshananda Swami wrote that book on Holy Mother. And he also wrote, he told this much, that he wrote so many letters of Holy Mother. And when he used to write, mother used to say something, dictate, and he used to note down the letter, and also he used to keep a copy of that. And that keeping the copy was a treasure house. But when Holy Mother passed away, he told me that I got so much renunciation in the mind. Are, mother is gone. What shall we do with this? What shall we do with Sarvadevananda Vrindavan? Wonderful photo. Wow. Ah.
Mm.
What shall I do with all these notes, all these letters? It is useless. And I
Yes.
got such renunciation, threw away everything into the Ganges. What a
Wow.
treasure we have lost from those notes, what he kept for. Notes means important letters, and that was noted there, and the diary he threw away. And also he wrote many books also. Very his book, greatest book is Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya Dev. That is a historic, wonderful book, authentic book on Sri Chaitanya. After, I would say, in a Ramakrishna tradition, that is the only book which is Chaitanya Charitamrita and other authentic book. That is the next book. So sorry. Now we, after staying 1 month, then they came back to Berlin. Okay, so this part is now. Your time is up. 7.
Marge, what we'll do is we'll continue with a part 2 series of your talks. But Marge, let me ask you one question here. A question is that it seems that spirituality has so many is coming in so many varieties of ways. So Swami Shankarananda Maharaj, you described him as more of a grave personality, and being in his presence, that your mind, you said, like you were saying that you felt uplifted in his presence. Your problems were solved but dissolved in one sense, like a fatherly figure. Then you have in the presence of Swami, say Premeshanandaji, you said he treated you like a mother, very loving, very kind, very sweet, and he's touching your face and just caressing you with the motherly sweetness. And then you're saying with Swami Gopesh Maharaj, Swami Saradeshananda, how he exemplified renunciation, very ascetic type. So Marge, these are so many different personalities, but what are there some common characteristics that you see amongst all these spiritual personalities that you've met? And if so, then also then second was what how has it influenced your own spiritual life? So let me first ask you first question. What are the common characteristics that you start to see amongst all these great souls?
I think that is their love for Sri Ramakrishna, love for this order, love for this whole organization and its monks, monastics, and devotees, because they feel that it is Sri Ramakrishna's bodies. So their love flows spontaneously. Core point, whatever may be difference, one may be Vedantic approach more, one may be harmonious approach like Swami Premeshananda always used to talk about the harmony of all yogas to practice in life. And say austere side, they say Gopesh Maharaj used to emphasize on austerity. Others luxury will come and this and that. But the key point is Sri Ramakrishna. Key point is Holy Mother. Your Advaita Vedanta is the ground, but concretize Advaita is Sri Ramakrishna, his Holy Mother, and his mission, his people, his own people. They are the parts of the whole. So I think that is the common ground on which all of them, as I understood, they are holding on to that. There is no distinction, difference. Austerity for Ramakrishna, austerity of that all inwardness for Ramakrishna. To show each one is temperamentally different. To show
Right.
his whole order is as a complexity of different characters, but all are centered around one central theme, Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother, and their ultimate Vedantic Ramakrishna. The ground is Advaita, uh, not a cultist Ramakrishna. Many people may have even developed some cultist idea. Ramakrishna is the one great sage, great avatar, over than others. No, not from that perspective. As the very embodiment, avatara, but is the embodiment of all, in all inclusive Sri Ramakrishna. I think that idea is manifested in them. The
So,
whole world, you can feel with them. The whole world is, they used to inject in your mind that whole world is your own, because you have to see the whole world as Ramakrishna's manifestation. That is their life teaches us.
and Marge, then what is what would you say then? What do they bring into your own life? How have they inspired you?
Yeah, that is the thing, as how much we can absorb. It is the question. They gave so much. I do not know. We are a mixture of what we are, as Swamiji said, that you uh, plant a seed, and you give whatever fertilizer, water, and everything. The tree grows in his own way, but it absorbs from all of them. So consciously or unconsciously, we absorb this idea, that idea, consciously sometimes, unconsciously. The consciously, as I say, Swami Gopesh Maharaj, he used to say that be knowledgeable, watch what is going on, contribute positively to the Sangha, uh, and keep this broad philosophy of the Sangha. Never pull down to dogma, doctrine. Sometimes we may be sometimes wrongly representing Ramakrishna if we say Ramakrishna is the only way.
Right,
Yeah, Ramakrishna is the only way. Which Ramakrishna you are talking about? You have to define that Ramakrishna.
right.
Otherwise, it becomes fanatic, another fanatic religion. So that type of idea, I think that has come in my life. I think that is the most influence probably. Anyone belonging to any uh, tradition, we used to criticize.
Yes,
We are better than them. They are doing this, that wrong. They are very. Uh, we may talk sometimes, but that does not enter inside. You
yeah,
know, Ramakrishna said everyone is a path. Everyone is moving according to their taste and temperament. So I think what I learned out of them, at least that has been their grace to. I think that every path, maybe there is some pure path, impure paths. No, spiritual practices we hear, there are so many. But before that, I was also very critic about them. But now, internally, I think that I have nothing to criticize. Ramakrishna said, no, they are also paths. You remember that time when Swami Vivekananda came and he was talking about Karta Bhajas in front of Ramakrishna, and they are using in the name of spirituality, they are using the sensual fulfillment of appetite. No, so those types of things. And he was criticizing because Swamiji is a very idealistic person. But
right.
after listening to all criticism after a long time, Ramakrishna said, my child, that is also a path
Mm,
where they will go. Those those who are not equipped to take your higher spirituality, they have to start somewhere. And that
right,
is the starting point. Through that they will understand, no, 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 no. Then they will go for higher. It is that, but you cannot criticize. You cannot make you. you as a standard for others. Everyone's standard, God has a place for all. So that idea, I think I got it from Premeshananda Maharaj
Hmm.
and Vishuddhananda Maharaj, and also what I talked about, Saradeshananda Maharaj.
Yeah.
Or later on, if we think about Shraddhananda and others, of course, there will be such things. But too late. Hello? Acha, I am in the Zoom meeting. I'll call you a little bit.
So, Mark, is the idea then acceptance? As you mature in spirituality, you
Acceptance, you
start
may
to
not
accept.
you accept, but you need not have to participate in them.
Yes.
You keep your, if you keep your integrity, if you keep your sanctity, or if you keep your own practice, but not to criticize them. Rather, you feel that, oh Lord, guide them in the right direction. You can be sympathetic to them. That's a bigger aspect of life. We can,
Right.
easily you can criticize anyone. He's bad, he's this. Oh my God, he's going through this type of spirituality. This is called spirituality. Why we criticize that? Not, so that I don't become a victim of that.
Mm.
It's not my path.
Right.
But I cannot say what is the path of others.
Right.
I may like sattvika food. Suppose
Right.
someone likes sattvika food. Someone likes rajasika food. It is fit for him. It gives his strength and nourishment. So spiritually also, all the paths. That's why Swamiji said, as many people, so many creeds. It is not, creeds are not problem. Not that number of religions is not the problem. Problem is that when you say my path is the only path, yours is wrong, I will cut your head. So there is the point. That is the harmony Sri Ramakrishna came for. And I think that also manifested to the lives of the great souls which we are talking about. All of them. So Chandikananda Swami, he told about his change in life when I talked about Swami Premeshananda. After visiting that, I went to see him. And he said, wow, you went to Premeshananda Maharaj? Oh, what a what a great opportunity. My God, you have changed your life. You do not know what you have blessing you got it today. And then he said, I was a man who was fighting with the British to rule out the British government for the sake of freedom of the country. But it is Premesh Maharaj who pulled me out of that for the greater
Wow.
purpose of life and put it at the feet of Mother. And he started weeping. So this is the, see, no hatred for British government. That person who was trying to free the country, freedom was the country, but higher freedom goal, Premesh Maharaj pulled him out of that confusion and pushed it to Holy Mother. And he said, that's the thing. So I think that we should all, as a students of Vedanta, all our monks and devotees should carry this spirit, that we may find something wrong practices, wrong things in different religious ideas and things. Okay. But I need not have to be like them. But I should be just not tolerate, but accept them as their path. That is the path they will have to go. You cannot expect that all will be equally equipped with talent, mental attitude, purity of the heart, good karma, good sadhana. Not maybe, but that is their sadhana. And through that sadhana, they will overcome and come to the higher.
Swami, one last question here, then will be this: is that you every many times you've mentioned in your meetings with these great souls, you feel you've been blessed. At least at that time, you said, "What a great blessing! What a great blessing!" Sometimes when you're in the presence of sometimes great souls, we don't recognize it. And as you said, sometimes you felt you're being scolded at times. Sometimes you feel like you're being criticized. So my question is, as time goes by, as you know, as we start to age more and more, do we recognize when we start to think about the experiences we had, our associations with these great souls, do you start to see more blessings and blessings that you start to feel from their presence, the meetings, encounters you had with them? Do the blessings start to become more? Do you feel more? Do they start the seeds? Do you feel them sprouting? Do you feel more presence of what they did? Sometimes we don't understand why. Sometimes we meet these great souls and they feel like just an everyday encounter or even more criticism. So
Mm.
does that happen? How
Yeah,
do you
I
recognize
think, I
that
think, yeah.
their
See,
blessings? You kept saying blessings. How do you
yeah,
recognize their
yeah.
blessings?
That I said when when Swami Suparnananda ji was scolding, I gave you a very little description of that. It was really, I heard, I came for getting initiation. I didn't do anything wrong. He started scolding me right and left. You are like that boy, reading, you want to go to see movie and run for seeing movie. Then you want to read novel, you go and get a book and read novel, and you read like gospel. You are, it's like that. You see, it is a shocking thing. I have no intention, and I don't do all these things also. But not knowing me anything, and he started talking me and scolding me. But that was anyhow. And now I think, my God, oh, see, that is a fact. Our search is not sincere.
Mm,
Sometimes we love, we love so many things. I love also God. Love God is not my criterion. People are talking that, oh, initiation is good. Initiation gives you a prestige. I am an initiated devotee of Ramakrishna order. No? Everywhere you go, you say, I am initiated by such and such. It in a society, there is a rank and position of that. So, are you doing with that? Or whimsical? Or many people get initiation, take the mantra, don't do anything, forget about that. After 5 years, 10 years, said, I forgot the mantra.
right.
That is, they have not practiced it. So, to make us genuine, the scolding was necessary. But
Mm,
that time it is difficult to understand.
I
That
see.
time it is a scolding, mere scolding.
Right.
So yeah, as we grow, then we understand that even this anything happening now is also for my good. That concept will gradually grow.
I see.
Every day we will experience that this bad thing has happened to me. Oh, it has a meaning. It wants to make me more towards God. I can pray more to God. When good days come, do you think of God? How
Mm,
much? But when some bad experience comes that day, it it forces us to go because we are all dedicated to God anyway,
right.
not holy or whatever. But blows give us sometimes brings us closer to God. So this type of sentiment comes. This type of sense generates in us. Not that all the time, but it generates. And when you feel, then you will feel, oh, Ramakrishna, oh Ma, you are so gracious. Yeah, you are wiping out my bad karmas in this way. Huh? Sometimes you feel that you have not done anything or nothing, but you are facing a big challenge of what you have not intended or done. But then previously reaction would come,
Right.
and is fight and reaction and all these things, anger and all nonsense. As you develop, probably days go, then you say, oh, no, Thakur is wiping out my karma. What a grace. Huh? That is the gradually we find in the mystic poets, they express this idea.
Yes.
And all the old sadhus I have heard, my karma is going on. I'm happy. I'm suffering. People are, oh, you are suffering so much. I went to many sadhus and told, Maharaj, you are suffering so much. Well, what suffering? Thakur is gracious, taking away my karma. So I'm happy, mentally happy, physically suffering. This attitude will change. That is grace.
I see. Yeah.
And some may think that Bhishan and experience is, of course, it is spiritually enlightening, but that is not the only characteristic. It should reflect in the life gradually that the whatever suffering comes, it is for my good is coming to make me pure, to make me more stainless, no, and so that I can go close to God, close to God. My karmas are wiping out, wiping out, wiping out.
Mm.
So this is their grace, as much as it comes, and most of the time it does not come. Means we are not yet absorbing those ideas, though we know everything.
Right.
Yeah,
Some resistance is there then, Maharaj.
resistance inside is there. Our ego is there.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
bad tendencies are there. Reactionary attitude is there. I.
Right.
So,
Wonderful.
okay.
Wonderful, Marge. Thank you so much
Jai
for the
Ma.
experiences. I think Marge will have to do a part two because there's many other Swamis you've met, and we'll have to get those experiences later on. So we'd like to thank Swami Sarvadevananda Maharaj for sharing his wonderful experiences and his reminiscences of these great souls, and also his humble teachings, learnings, the experiences that he learned. So thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, and thank you, everybody. Sorry for the for our little delay in the beginning. Maharaj, can we ask you to give a closing chant and just give your blessings to all of us?
Who am I to give blessings? We have only God will give us blessings. So I pray to Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother to shower their blessings upon us so that we grow in our inner spiritual life and try to understand the cosmic plan of this world and why I am here, why I'm going through this life's troubles and turmoils or happiness and misery. These are all for bringing us to the divine, close to the divine. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you all again. Jai Ma.